the government seems to be in, I would say, some sort of a celebratory mode when it comes to the GDP, when it comes to higher tax collection. But only today a newspaper says that we have to worry about the major economic headwinds. What do you think are the challenges for the economy beyond the celebration?
The only one who is happy about the economy and the macroeconomic situation appears to be the government. Anyone who whistles in the dark, I call it whistling in the dark, will put up a brave front, a smiling face. But he knows he's in the dark, he knows he's whistling, and he's trying to shore up his own confidence. Everybody else has predicted serious headwinds. Today, there is a front page story in a newspaper which talks about the macro worries. There is an interview by the chief economic advisor who acknowledges that there are headwinds. You had the RBI governor's statement, the third storm. He mentioned two storms, the corona and the Ukraine war, and a third storm. And above all, UNCTAD has predicted 2022 will record a 5.7% growth and 2023 will record a 4.7% growth. If all this is not a matter for worry, what is the government doing? I can't say.
Mr. Chidambaram, the government says that rupee, GDP, employment is all a function of war, and this has got nothing to do with the government, that these are external forces that are affecting, and India in this global world order cannot remain untouched with these external matters. So do you feel that this assessment is correct?
Does the government therefore throw up its hand? Could I have said in 2013, it is because of the taper tantrum of the US Fed? Could somebody say in 2008, it's because of the international financial crisis? You are a government, you are in government to deal with external shocks as well as internal problems. If you can't throw up your hand and say, this is external, I have nothing to do with what's going on in the rest of the world, why are you in government?
Mr. Chidambaram, let's take a look at these issues one by one, and let's first talk about the rupee. One explanation from the government is that, see, yes, we are falling, our rupee is falling, but the fall is not as much as other currencies.
What kind of a satisfaction is this? Is your per capita the same as the per capita of other countries whose currency has fallen? Are your imports not larger than your exports? Is not your current account deficit one of the worst in the world? Therefore, what is this comparison? I can't understand. If all other parameters are equal, then you can say my rupee has fallen lower than your currency. But in many other parameters, we are weaker, we are poorer, we have great difficulties. For example, in poverty, in maternal mortality rate, in infant mortality rate, we are poorer and weaker. Our children are more malnourished. We are dependent on exports and imports. We have to import practically every chip that is used in your digital India. Therefore, there's no point comparison. You have to take what it is and say, what are you doing to stem the fall of the rupee?
Mr. Chidambaram, what will you suggest then? Because, in a situation like this, with the rupee breaching a new mark every day, now it is 32 rupees to a dollar. How can you contain this, given the external challenges?
I'm not saying you will succeed in containing the fall of the rupee, but you must make an effort. Just look back to 2013, 2014. Actually, it started in 2012 end, 2012-13 and 13-14. The rupee had fallen precipitously, but we brought back the rupee. By the time we demitted office, the UPA government demitted office, the rupee had been brought back to 58.4. Therefore, you have to make an effort. And how did we bring back the rupee to the previous level? We took a number of measures. The first step you have to take is to attract more capital into India, to attract more funds into India. I can't see this government doing anything to attract more capital to India.
Okay, let's
Number
let's
one.
yeah.
Number two,
Sure.
you will have to contain the current account deficit. So far, in the first 6 months, gold imports are $20 billion. On the petroleum account, the deficit is $65 billion. I'm not saying this can be reduced to zero. I'm not even suggesting that. But you have to make some effort to contain these imports. I can't see the government doing anything to contain these imports. There are many measures can be taken. You may be partially successful, you may be fully successful, but you have to make an effort.
Sure.
What this government is doing is, I can't do anything about it. This is external. Then why are you in government?